Have you ever sensed that someone's cheerful words were hiding a desire to see you fail? Some people cloak their hatred behind smiles, compliments, and fake concern, all while plotting your downfall. These individuals become experts at subtle sabotage, making you question yourself without ever revealing their true feelings. The most dangerous part: their hatred rarely looks obvious. Instead, it shows up in sneaky, almost invisible patterns of behavior that can drain your confidence and peace. In this video, we'll uncover the 5 clearest signs that someone secretly despises you. Actions calculated to weaken you while keeping their mask of friendliness intact. These aren't petty misunderstandings. They're deliberate moves by people who can't stand you but want to keep you close. By the end of this video, you'll see through their deception, recognize these toxic patterns instantly, and finally understand why certain people leave you feeling uneasy or diminished. Stay tuned, because each behavior we reveal is a key piece of the puzzle you need to protect yourself and your mental well-being. Behavior 1. The backhanded compliment. Let's dive into one of the most deceptive tactics haters use: the hidden insult disguised as praise. Imagine someone approaches you with a beaming smile and says something like, "I admire your courage for wearing that outfit. I'd never have the nerve to pull it off myself." At first, your mind registers a compliment. But pause and think, what are they truly implying? The underlying message is that what you're wearing is so outlandish or inappropriate that only someone with reckless confidence would dare put it on. This is what's known as a backhanded compliment, a sugar-coated attack that leaves a bitter aftertaste. Those who harbor genuine resentment toward you are masters of these subtle verbal jabs. They invest time figuring out how to slip an insult into what sounds like flattery, ensuring you leave the conversation feeling unsettled or inferior without even understanding why. Backhanded compliments are like a beautifully wrapped present that contains something rotten inside. It looks friendly on the outside, but damages you the moment you accept it. Here's another example that exposes this tactic perfectly when someone says, "You're so lucky your job doesn't require a lot of intelligence." Hidden beneath the word lucky is a direct assault on your abilities, masked as a light-hearted observation. Such people know exactly what to say to undermine your confidence while appearing innocent to anyone listening. What makes backhanded compliments truly insidious is that they aren't the product of social awkwardness or unintentional clumsiness. Awkward people might blurt out the wrong thing now and then, but those who use these disguised insults are deliberate and meticulous. Every word is selected to cause the most emotional damage possible, all while they keep smiling and pretending to support you. When you hear a comment like this, your brain is thrown into a spiral of confusion. At first, you might feel vaguely flattered, but soon, an uneasy feeling settles in. Something just doesn't feel right. Then you start second-guessing yourself, wondering if you're being too sensitive or imagining things. By the time you walk away, your self-esteem has taken a hit, yet you can't pinpoint why. This emotional disorientation is exactly what the person wants. It's psychological manipulation at its most subtle and effective. Consider a phrase like, "You're pretty for someone your size." Far from a real compliment, it plants seeds of insecurity by highlighting what they believe makes you less than. They want that comment to echo in your mind long after the conversation, making you fixate on the implied flaw every time you look in the mirror. So how can you protect yourself from this sly form of hatred? First, always pay attention to your instincts. If a compliment leaves you feeling uncomfortable or diminished, don't dismiss that feeling. It's a sign something is wrong. Second, observe patterns over time. Authentic compliments uplift you without strings attached, while fake ones always contain a sharp edge. When you recognize someone repeatedly giving compliments that sting, you're dealing with someone who wants to hurt you under the guise of kindness. If you encounter a backhanded compliment, you have a few effective responses. One is to calmly ask them to clarify. What exactly do you mean by that? This forces them to unpack their words, often revealing their true intentions and putting them on the defensive. Another option is to give a simple, polite thank you and end the conversation, refusing to play their mind games. Above all, remember these subtle put-downs are a reflection of the speaker's insecurity and bitterness, not your worth. People who truly appreciate you will encourage and praise you without using comparisons or sneaky insults that leave you doubting yourself. Their words will uplift you, not drag you down. Behavior 2. The success minimizer. Have you ever had a moment where you achieved something meaningful? Something you poured time, energy, and discipline into, only to have someone close to you ruin the excitement? Maybe you landed a better job after months of effort, reached a personal fitness goal, entered a healthy new relationship, or finally bought something you've been saving for with discipline and sacrifice. You were excited, proud, and ready to share your joy with those around you, until someone responded with a dismissive comment, like, "Well, companies are just hiring anyone these days," or "That won't last, those diets never do," or "Maybe he's just dating you out of pity." And just like that, your joy was stolen. This is not mere thoughtlessness. This is what we call the success minimizer. The second behavior in our list of 5 toxic traits that reveal hidden hatred. This type of person has a specific talent. They specialize in draining the energy from your victories, like emotional pickpockets who steal your sense of accomplishment the moment you share it. People who secretly resent you will often feel deeply unsettled by your success because it reminds them of their own lack of progress. Rather than use your growth as a mirror for self-improvement, they try to diminish it, twist it, or discredit it in any way they can. These are the people who can't stand to see you happy, unless they're the reason you're happy, and they'll never celebrate your wins without finding a way to attach a but at the end. Pay close attention to how they speak. They use minimizing words with surgical precision, just only probably lucky. These aren't throwaway terms. They're psychological weapons designed to strip away the value of your work. According to them, your promotion wasn't earned. It was just good timing. Your weight loss, only temporary. Your relationship, probably doomed like the last one. Their words aren't chosen randomly. They're deliberately crafted to make you question the legitimacy of your own progress. Even worse, these people often compare your achievements to someone else's in order to make you feel like you still haven't done enough. You lose 20 pounds, they remind you someone else lost 30. You buy a car, they say it's not as nice as their cousins. This isn't about offering perspective. It's about shrinking your moment so they don't have to face their own lack of progress. Over time, this kind of negativity can take a serious toll on your self-worth. When your milestones are constantly invalidated, you may begin to wonder if they ever mattered to begin with. You might even feel guilty for being proud. Eventually, you start celebrating in silence. Or worse, you stop striving for more, thinking, why bother? No one really cares anyway. And that's exactly what the success minimizer wants for you to stay small enough not to threaten them. What makes this behavior especially revealing is not just the words they use, but how often and when they say them. A rare, cautious comment from someone who genuinely cares might be rooted in concern, But repeated calculated undermining is a sign of deep resentment. This isn't realism, it's sabotage. So how do you protect yourself? Start by observing how different people react when you share good news. A true supporter will light up with genuine happiness for you. They may offer advice, but never before celebrating your win. A minimizer, on the other hand, leads with criticism, comparison, or subtle jabs, always looking for the flaw in your victory. Keep a mental record of these responses. If someone consistently undermines your success, you're not being too sensitive. You're recognizing a pattern. Don't rationalize their behavior as humility concern or realism. It's resentment wrapped in politeness. To take your power back, prioritize sharing your victories with people who actually want to see you thrive. Get your support from those who celebrate your wins without turning them into warnings or comparisons. And when you do cross paths with a success minimizer, remember their reaction is a reflection of their own insecurities, not the worth of your accomplishment. You earned your success. You deserve to feel proud of it. Anyone who tries to make you feel otherwise is not acting out of love. They're acting out of bitterness. And now you know exactly how to spot them. Behavior 3. The information withholder. If you're still with us, good, because what you're about to discover might completely shift how you view certain people in your life. What I'm about to reveal isn't just subtle, it's hidden in plain sight, often dismissed as a simple mistake or oversight. But once you see the pattern for what it truly is, you'll begin to question who around you is really rooting for your success, and who is quietly rooting for your downfall. Now picture this. You're part of a team at work, and a key meeting gets scheduled, one that could significantly affect your project or your reputation. Everyone else shows up prepared, but you never got the memo. Or maybe a big family gathering is in the works, and you find out only hours before it happens. Even in your friend group, important updates or opportunities seem to conveniently reach others first, while you're left scrambling to catch up again. At first, you brush it off. Miscommunication happens, right? But if this kind of thing keeps happening, and only to you, it's time to consider a more unsettling truth, that someone in your circle may be deliberately keeping you in the dark. This is what we call Behavior 3, and it belongs to the information withholder, a person who uses silence, delay, and omission, not by accident, but by design. These individuals understand one powerful truth: access to information equals power. And by selectively controlling what you know and when you know it, they gain the upper hand in every situation. Unlike open confrontations or harsh words, this tactic is quiet, indirect, and dangerously effective because it's hard to prove, and even harder to call out without sounding paranoid. But make no mistake, this is psychological warfare through exclusion. In professional settings, they'll forget to copy you on critical emails or leave you out of decisions that affect your work, only informing you when the window to act has nearly closed. Then, when things fall apart, you look disorganized or uninformed while they maintain their image as reliable and on top of everything. In your personal life, they might accidentally leave you off invitations, fail to share family news, or delay telling you things that directly affect your plans and well-being. It's never an outright lie. It's what they don't say that does the damage. The cruelest part: they exploit the fact that most people are naturally trusting. You assume the best, that it was just a misstep or oversight, and they count on that. They take advantage of your kindness, your reluctance to confront, and your hope that people are being honest with you. But behind the scenes, they're choosing silence as a weapon every single time it serves their hidden agenda. The key difference between an honest mistake and strategic withholding lies in consistency and selectivity. Everyone forgets to pass along information once in a while. But when the same person keeps missing you in the loop, and only you, there's intent behind that pattern. Watch carefully. These people have perfect recall when something serves their interests. They only forget when sharing would help you succeed, gain credit, or avoid unnecessary stress. So how do you spot an information gatekeeper in your life? Start tracking the flow of information. Are you regularly finding things out after everyone else? Do you feel like you're constantly trying to catch up while others seem to know what's coming in advance? Are there certain individuals who always seem conveniently uninformed when something could benefit you, yet somehow know everything when it concerns them? These are not coincidences. These are control tactics disguised as harmless lapses. Begin documenting these moments in your mind, not out of bitterness, but for clarity. Patterns reveal intention. To protect yourself, stop relying on single sources for updates. Instead, build multiple channels of communication in every area of your life, professional, social, and personal. Stay proactive. Ask direct questions like, "When did this come up?" Or, "Was I supposed to be informed earlier?" and watch their reaction. Do they stammer? Do they shift blame? Or do they immediately try to justify the delay? Their answers will speak volumes. Above all, trust your intuition. If you consistently feel sidelined, excluded, or blindsided, you're not imagining things. You're likely dealing with someone who sees your growth as a threat and is using silence to hold you back. This kind of manipulation is difficult to confront, but once you see it clearly, you can no longer be controlled by it. You have every right to receive information that affects your life in a timely, respectful way. And anyone who consistently denies you, that is not just being careless, they are being cruel. And now, you know what to look for. Behavior 4. The energy vampire. Let's move forward, because what comes next is not only disturbing, it's deeply personal. This behavior is so damaging that if left unchecked, it can slowly erode your confidence, disrupt your emotional balance, and reshape who you are without you even realizing it. I'm not just giving you information here. I'm handing you a warning that could protect your mind, your relationships, and your peace. This is emotional warfare in its purest form, and unless you learn to see it for what it is, you may end up trapped in someone else's darkness for years. Ask yourself, have you ever left a conversation feeling mentally drained, emotionally exhausted, or inexplicably down, even though you weren't the one with the problem? There are people out there who don't just bring bad energy. They manufacture it. They don't simply have bad days. They've turned emotional chaos into a lifestyle. This is what we call the energy vampire, and their goal isn't to solve problems or connect. It's to consume. This behavior is not accidental. Energy vampires are fully aware of what they're doing. They orchestrate interactions that center on their drama, their misfortunes, or their endless list of complaints. Their favorite tactic: turning every conversation into an emotional trap. No matter what topic you try to raise good news, neutral updates, even small talk, they'll twist it back into something negative, draining, and self-centered. Mention your new job, and they'll remind you of how that industry is collapsing. Say you're in love, and they'll warn you about heartbreak. To them, every silver lining has a thundercloud. But the danger doesn't end with negative conversation. These individuals know how to use emotional manipulation to keep you hooked. They'll drop guilt-ridden lines like, "I guess no one really listens to me," or "I knew you wouldn't understand just when you start pulling away. They prey on your empathy. Your kindness becomes the very tool they use to keep you tethered to their toxic orbit. And here's what makes this even more insidious. They don't target everyone. Energy vampires are selective. They hunt for people who are emotionally open, nurturing and supportive people like you. They know you'll pick up the phone. You'll reply to the message. You'll stay on the call longer than you want to. And so they fabricate endless crises, each more urgent than the last, to keep you emotionally invested. The emergencies never end, and strangely, they're never resolved either. That's the point, to keep you in a constant state of reactive support. Another favorite tactic: emotional dumping. This is when they pour all their stress, fear, anger, and anxiety onto you without warning, and without ever asking if you're emotionally available to receive it. It's not a conversation. It's a one-way transmission of negativity, and they expect you to absorb it all without protest. They treat you like an emotional landfill, discarding their pain in your direction, while offering nothing uplifting or constructive in return. And the long-term effects, devastating. You begin to dread seeing their name pop up on your phone. Your mood drops before you even respond. You might avoid certain gatherings just to keep from being emotionally hijacked again. Over time, you become more anxious, more pessimistic, and less emotionally stable. Not because of your own life, but because of someone else's emotional invasion. That's not a coincidence. That's the slow erosion of your mental clarity caused by repeated exposure to their chaos. What's even more telling is this: energy vampires don't just reflect emotional neediness. They reflect a deeper level of selfishness, and sometimes even hatred. Why? Because someone who truly values you would never exploit your compassion as a fuel source. They wouldn't seek to drain you so they can feel better about their own misery. They wouldn't constantly drag you down when they see you trying to rise. So how do you protect yourself? Start by recognizing the early signs. If someone leads every conversation with a crisis or complaint, and you feel an immediate emotional heaviness, that's your red flag. Learn to practice detachment without guilt. You don't have to be rude, but you also don't have to be their emotional sponge. Use short, calm responses like, "I hope that works out," or "That sounds tough," without digging deeper. Then redirect the conversation, or excuse yourself. This is known as the gray rock method, becoming so emotionally neutral that the vampire loses interest. Set limits. Protect your time. If you know certain people will monopolize your emotional energy, schedule brief, controlled interactions, or avoid them entirely when necessary. You are not obligated to entertain someone else's storm just because you have a calm presence. And most importantly, stop believing that you can fix them. Energy vampires aren't looking for solutions, they're looking for attention, validation, and control. The more you try to help, the more they will take until there's nothing left but burnout. The only real way to win is to disengage from their game completely. This behavior may seem like emotional neediness on the surface, but underneath it reveals something far colder, a fundamental disregard for your well-being. Someone who genuinely respects you would never demand your energy just to fuel their endless negativity. And when you understand that, you'll finally stop giving your light to people who only live in the dark. Behavior 5. The sabotage specialist. Take a moment to reflect on your past. Think about those periods in life where everything seemed to be aligning. Your work was thriving. Relationships felt meaningful, and progress toward your goals was steady and exciting. But then, without warning, something derailed it all. Not the kind of bad luck that comes out of nowhere. No, this felt too specific, too well-timed, almost as if someone had deliberately pulled the rug from under you, just as you were gaining momentum. Maybe right before an expected promotion, whispers about your performance suddenly began circulating. Or, as a romantic connection was deepening, someone in your inner circle began sharing half-truths or negative stories about you. Perhaps while preparing for a crucial event, mysterious miscommunications or last-minute changes caused everything to unravel. At the time, you may have chalked it up to unfortunate timing, stress, or coincidence. But what if it wasn't chance? What if someone close to you was quietly engineering your setbacks, not through open hostility, but through quiet, calculated interference designed to keep you stuck? This is the final and most destructive behavior on our list: the sabotage specialist. These individuals are not careless or clumsy. They are intentional, covert, and frighteningly effective at ruining your progress while maintaining a mask of concern and support. The sabotage specialist doesn't attack you directly. That would be too obvious, too easy to confront. Instead, they move in silence. They create problems from the shadows, tweaking small details, leaking the wrong information, or accidentally mishandling things at exactly the wrong time. They're like arsonists who return to the scene of the fire offering to help put it out, earning praise for being helpful while secretly enjoying the destruction they caused. In your career, they might offer to assist on a key project, only to drop the ball at the last minute, making you look incompetent. Or they might casually mention your confidential ideas to the wrong person, jeopardizing your strategy. In your personal life, they sow seeds of doubt among people who trust you. They may frame stories about you in a way that damages your character, or twist your words to spark conflict where none existed before. It's always subtle, always deniable, and always devastating. They are deeply strategic, paying close attention to the timing of your major milestones and goals. They don't sabotage you randomly. They strike at moments of high visibility, high risk, or high emotional investment, just before the job offer, right before your engagement, days ahead of your big launch. Their goal is to maximize damage with minimal exposure, so they never look like the villain. What makes them especially dangerous is their use of plausible deniability. When called out, they're quick to respond with, "I was just trying to help," or "I didn't realize that would cause issues," or "I only said something because I was worried about you." They always have a soft, reasonable excuse ready, and they rely on your kindness and hesitation to confront others directly. Even worse, some sabotage specialists operate through proxies. They use others to deliver the blow, manipulating coworkers, mutual friends, or family members into acting on their behalf. They plant suggestions or share misleading information, then step back and let the chaos unfold, their hands apparently clean, while your life unravels behind the scenes. The long-term emotional damage from this behavior is severe. When you're repeatedly blindsided by setbacks that seem to come from nowhere, you begin to question your ability to trust others and even yourself. You start to doubt your instincts, your judgment, your worth. You grow anxious, paranoid, hesitant to pursue new goals, convinced that any progress will be met with invisible resistance. Eventually, the fear of sabotage becomes so strong that you may stop striving altogether, believing the effort just isn't worth the inevitable crash. Recognizing this behavior requires sharp observation and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. Start noticing when things go wrong, not just the events themselves, but who is always nearby when they happen. Do particular people seem to be present directly or indirectly when plans fall apart? Do they often have access to sensitive information that mysteriously leaks? Do they benefit even subtly when your plans fail? Watch for patterns. Consistent, well-timed disruptions are rarely accidents. Document the facts, dates, decisions, who said what, who was involved. Over time, those patterns will form a clear picture. To protect yourself, become more selective about what you share. Not everyone deserves access to your plans, your hopes, or your timeline. Share only what is necessary, and only with people who have proven themselves to be trustworthy over time. Build contingency plans in every area of your life so that one failed attempt doesn't collapse everything. Spread your dependencies wisely, and don't rely too heavily on any one person for critical support. If you suspect sabotage, confront it strategically, not emotionally. Ask clear, direct questions. How did this information get out? Who else knew this detail? Why wasn't I told sooner? Pay attention to their body language, their tone, and their willingness to answer. Those who are innocent will respond with transparency. Those who are not will dodge, deflect, or over-explain. Above all, trust your instincts. If your gut tells you that someone is consistently linked to your setbacks, even if indirectly, that's not a coincidence. It's a pattern. And behind that pattern is a person who is actively working to limit your potential. Sabotage is not a mistake. It's a mindset. And the person who practices it isn't your friend, no matter what face they show the world. Now that you've uncovered all 5 toxic behaviors that expose hidden hatred, you can no longer pretend not to see the truth. The masks have slipped. You now recognize the tactics used by those who pretend to support you while quietly working to undermine you. If you return to tolerating backhanded compliments, downplaying your own success, allowing others to keep you in the dark, letting emotional leeches drain your spirit, or ignoring subtle sabotage, then make no mistake, you're not just a target. You're a participant in your own harm. These behaviors aren't isolated. They work together like a system designed to erode your confidence, derail your progress, and keep you stuck. One person plants doubt, another steals your joy. Someone else hides vital information, another drains your energy, and someone in the shadows quietly ruins your chances. When all of this comes from people who claim to care about you, it's not friendship, it's manipulation wrapped in concern. You must trust your intuition. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Your next move. Start with clarity. Look at your relationships and ask yourself who consistently displays these behaviors. Don't justify, don't downplay, see things as they are. Then, set firm boundaries, protect your peace, and stop giving access to those who only use it to hurt you. You deserve people who cheer for your growth, share knowledge, recharge your energy, and truly want to see you win. Those people do exist, but you must clear the space to let them in. If you found this video helpful or thought-provoking, we warmly invite you to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the upcoming content. We'll be diving even deeper into insights that truly matter. And if you're ready to take the next step toward healthier, more empowering relationships, the video now appearing on your screen might offer just the perspective you need. Feel free to click it. Your future self may thank you for it.